It's almost like I remember being at a UFC with Ricardo Almeida, who's one of my closest friends, like a brother to me, and I remember the cornerman, you know, he was fighting a guy named Eugene Jackson, and Eugene was on one side, his team was this way, we were right next to him, and Eugene put a guillotine on, but Ricardo's not going to get caught in a guillotine, not by that guy, and but his corner is screaming like he's got it, like, yeah, it's over, yeah, and he's going nuts. So then I'm thinking maybe they know something, so I start like almost having I have an adrenaline dump, my heart, it's beating, my heart was beating so strong that like my arms were pulsating, and then Ricardo got out and then submitted him with a triangle.
Wow.
But it was the kind of thing that like, man, there is no rush that you could possibly get like that. And next week I'm cornering Dan Miller at UFC's, the co-main event against Michael Bisping, and you know it's an incredible rush, but you really have a job to do, and that job starts way earlier than like, oh, you just walked out to the ring.
Many months
It's
before.
it's been going, and it will be
ongoing.
making that weight, and it'll be then how the rehydration process and taking them through that. It'll be keeping them calm, cool, and collected the day of the fight. And remember, you see the fighters come out 5 minutes before. They show up hours and hours and hours before, stewing around in the locker room. Yeah. You're in a locker room where the other fighters are coming in from their fights first, maybe beat up, maybe just lost, got a broken arm. Like, how do you now not let that affect you? There's so many dynamics to it, but those are the challenges that where I'm at in my career that I look for, that that's what I want to be, that guy there and accept that responsibility, you know. And but there's not, again, there's nothing like, I've been on the sideline of NFL games, I've been at Olympic trials to watch it in certain events, but it's like, man, there's nothing that has the finality of two guys going at it, and when that door closes, somebody's losing and somebody's winning, and if your guy loses, that man, especially if you're in Japan, that's a long plane flight home, But I'll say this, we never had that loss. Ricardo went undefeated in Japan the whole time. The Gracies won, so we never had that bad experience, which, knock on wood, I don't want it either. But it was, I think that's a testament to the stuff we put in.
Now, there's so much stuff in both books, like there's foam rollers, nutrition, weight management, the hunt. Oh, this one's like over 300 new exercises. There's tons of stuff. And it's not just, like you said, it's not just for combat athletes. And you yourself were saying you love to be fit. Tell me, with a family, okay, you have 3 daughters, with a family, how important it is for like dads out there who might not compete in the sport. They can benefit from these books without a doubt, but how important it is just to be fit, just as an example for your family, lead by example.
Yeah. Well, first thing I'll say is, like, when I always said like training for warriors, even my concept maybe in the beginning was like, hey, for fighters. Like, so when I originally did the training for warriors, it was we were training fighters. What I started to notice and remember, this is when MMA wasn't popular.
Right.
But when MMA got popular, it went from, I can remember when I was training all the NFL guys, everybody wanted the NFL workout. And then now everything's about like, we want, the UFC workout, or how do those guys train? So what I also started to really recognize too is a warrior doesn't mean you get punched in the face or you got cauliflower ears or broken teeth, Right. You can be a warrior and not have to have that, but to train like a warrior, hey, it says something. And so in here, in the back of this, which I think is a special section, is I have my 20 guiding principles, of training for warriors. And it has nothing to do with being a fighter. It has to be about, being a warrior in life, and just how you conduct yourself, how you respond to adversity, how you, everything about who you are. That's what this is. So now these are what those represent more to me. So these books are not like, hey, if you're, because if you are an aspiring fighter and you want to be a fighter, you got to have this. But even if you're not, you can still train and grow from this system, But I would always say, I guess, whether it's you want to be the leader in your industry or you want to be a role model, you got to lead from the front and you got to lead by example. My kids, which, great, probably my favorite picture in here, we always talk about. Everybody says, hey, what's your favorite picture? I got a bunch of them, but right here, there's me and my, what we call my warrior princesses. So these are my daughters right there, my Imperial Guard. Even the 1-year-old's bowed up with her fists blazing. But people say, what does it mean? And what I think is pretty cool is when my daughters go to show and tell and they bring wooden shoes from Holland, or they bring a little bear from Russia, or they bring in this book and say, my dad wrote this book, and then people, or they go to a book signing and they're signing books, and hey, it doesn't mean you got to write books, you got to do that, but guys, your ultimate job as I believe as a parent or a dad is to take care of your family. Yeah. And if you're not healthy and you're not fit, your ability to take care of them disappears. So your first wealth is your health. you know, I always say, hey, if I gave you guys $1 billion, how would you feel?
Amazing.
Amazing, right? But what if I said, okay, I gave you the $1 billion, but tomorrow you're gonna die? How are you gonna feel?
So good.
Yeah. How about this? How about this? Now, tomorrow you're gonna die, or you can give the $1 billion back and you don't die. What would you do?
Give the $1 billion back.
You give the $1 billion back. So what does that mean? What did we just learn right there? Your health's worth more than $1 billion. So the whole thing is, if it's worth more than $1 billion, yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, but hey, so are you valuing that like that? See, that's how I value it, man. Like that workout we did, I just made an investment stronger than any investment I can make in a stock or a bank. And I want my kids to see that. You know, I want them to look back and say that our dad was healthy and he fought the good fight or whatever it is. But you know, again, it's about being inspired. You know, like my kids, like in some ways, I think of them when I'm training.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just me. But I think everybody has to have a little bit of that. And and I'll say this too. Training is not age dependent. You know, strength is not age dependent. Flexibility is not age dependent. You can do it, but it is dependent on if you're doing it or not. Mm-hmm. So you know, it's if you're sitting on the couch and you keep saying I wanna, or I can't. You know, take the T off the can't. Start doing something about it because, you know, the converse or the other side of that is the last thing you want is your kids saying, yeah, my dad's out of shape or my dad got cancer or my dad had a heart attack. Which, guys, these are all preventable. You know, so that, so I guess that's my take on that stuff. But yeah, I didn't think it was good. You know, my next book maybe will be training for dads.
Training for warriors, Ultimate Warrior workouts. Martin Rooney, really appreciate it. Can't say enough. And Smitty from Diesel Crew, reporting for EliteFitness.com. Really appreciate it. We're signing off. Thanks.
That's a good one.
How did you get involved with bobsled?